Influencing is a soft form of power, but it's not different from power in the sense you can say that they're complements. Influencing works with power. And it's an everyday process. If you think about it, we all do this all of the time, but we don't actually reflect on what we're doing as influencers very explicitly. So, for example, you want to get a pay rise, so you want to influence your boss. You want to book a table at a restaurant and it's full. Or you want to get a better table at a restaurant, you need to influence the restaurateur. Or you want to get an upgrade when you're flying in an airline. So all of those things are basically ways in which people try to influence as a day-to-day practice. And what we want to do here is to unpack what's going on and how influence actually works. So we can think about influence again in two ways. The first one is influencing is a process, and that it essentially means that you have to build rapport. And so the evidence suggests that to be influencing well, you need to create likability. You need to create a sense of which the other person wants to do something for you. And you need to therefore, at best, build some sort of reciprocity. In other words, if I do this for you, then you'll get this in return. Those are the ways in which influence works at its best. The other part of influencing is basically to say, well, what gives people the power to influence? In other words, what makes an effective influencer? And partly that's the process, influencing. Partly it's about what you have, what you can offer, which is going to affect the way people see you. So, for example, we can generally think that influence is at its most effective. In other words, you can influence best when, for example, you are seen as some sort of expert. In other words, I take seriously, you have high credibility about what you say, and therefore you can influence an outcome. Secondly, influence works best if you can frame an argument in terms of a common agenda. I'm doing this for us, rather than I'm doing this just for myself. Thirdly, the evidence shows that influencing and being a great influencer works best when you don't just rely on a rational argument, but actually what you do is you create a sort of emotional, or what we call an affective bond between yourself and the other people that you're trying to influence. In other words, it comes back to the old idea of likability and trust being critical to effective influencing. The ability to influence people remains a key element of effective leadership. Leaders use different tactics for exercising influence over individuals. Leaders should work to expand their spheres of influence in order to become more effective. Think about your own leadership practice. How does influence work in your specific context? How could you become more influential in your organization?